Hey everyone, there are those movies that they're just like so bad and terrible that Kay just needs a break. So I'm flying solo this week as we talk about the Troy Duffy documentary, Overnight. Yeah, what a interest. It's a very interesting documentary. Um, I don't even know what to say about this movie that uh, every other critic has said. It basically makes Troy Duffy to be like the ultimate jerk, the ultimate moron, the ultimate, egotistical, crazy lunatic, where it's like, he is so guaranteed that he's going to be Hollywood's next wonder kid, and no one has seen it. No one has seen anything like him before. Forget Carl Reiner, forget Rob Reiner, forget Spielberg, forget Scorsese, forget Richard Donner, forget James Cameron, forget Hitchcock, forget all of these other people that have come before him, and like he's only saying like, well, I'm the first kind of person because I'm promised a $15 million script, um, and our band. Really? For the most part, no one agrees with him on any of this stuff. And I'm not talking about, like, He Who Shall Not Be Named. I'm not talking about Miramax. I'm not talking about any of the actors. You can just tell that no one around him thinks that what he's saying is even close to, like, realism or the truth. Kay brought up something, and it's actually kind of true. I wish I had a root beer bottle. But she said pretty much every scene in this movie is either him cursing, smoking, or drinking. That is quite actually every scene. Just shy of every scene has that. There is a little bit of nudity, so yay, I guess. But like, oh my god. Like, oh. The so misogynistic in that scene, it is creepy. One thing that I heard on a podcast is that Troy Duffy says this is an 85-minute smear campaign. Yeah, I don't buy it. It's him being himself. It's him talking. Even when, like, he gets fired, or when he puts one studio against another, or when he threatens to, like, can't leave his talent agency, it's like, he's still acting like a jerk. Regardless of any setback, he's acting like, oh, my movie, it's gonna make billions of dollars. I'm gonna be Hollywood's next wonder kid. People are gonna look at me like I am the king. I'm the genius. I'm smarter. No one is better than me. And I'm thinking like, dude, there's been tons of independent films that have been picked up before you. There's been tons of independent films that have been made before you. And especially when you look at Boondock Saints, you're like, you think this movie is going to be the movie that's going to make you king of Hollywood? I don't really see that coming. Maybe I'm out of the age range. That happens probably. And I heard in a, sorry folks, I heard in a, interview, years later that it was like, that Troy Duffy was basically saying, I'm a kid. I was a kid back then. You were like 23, 24. You worked at a bar. I'm pretty sure you can't work at a bar if you're a kid. Feel free to correct me in the comments in either the comments below, comments above, comments to the side, or comments to the other side. He was saying that, like, oh, I was a kid, I was childish, I was immature. It's like, how did you even get a job at a bar if this is your attitude? Hey, you know, not to judge. I am not here to kid shame. Well, maybe a little bit or parent shame, but if your kid is drinking, smoking, using profanity and like swearing up, you're not a kid. He had to have been at least in his 20s when he tried to make Boondock Saints, and you know, he's like, oh my god, Hollywood didn't pick up the movie. You know what? There's hundreds of scripts that are blacklisted, okay? There's tons of scripts that Hollywood is like, we don't know what to do with this movie. We don't know how to make this work. We don't know how to do this. And honestly, some of the choices that were brought up that I had heard, that I saw, I've been like Robert De Niro was in the movie. Like, I don't know what he could have been. Sorry, folks. My guess, and that maybe this would have been interesting, is maybe if he had played the cop, maybe. Mark Wahlberg was apparently attached, or he was part of the documentary. But apparently there's tons of stories that are not in this. Like, just watch Smeghead's Part 1 of Boondock Saints 2, and you'll hear tons of stories. And you'll also hear me ripping him off blatantly. You already heard my review of Boondock Saints. And now, the sad part is that now there's going to be a Boondock Saints 2, and it, Kay is not looking forward to it, because she knows now what Troy Duffy is, and I think she said, like, well, it makes sense that in Boondock Saints there would be a lot of drinking and swearing, because that's pretty much what this guy does. So it wouldn't surprise me if I have to fly solo for that review. It's kind of funny. We've reviewed several independent movies this year. Black Spring Break, Dr. Alien, Fart the Movie, and it's Boondock Saints 2 that she's like, yeah, no. I am gonna surprise her by saying that they are making Boondock Saints 3. Smeghead, I'm gonna use some of your information, because really, Troy Duffy, he doesn't come across as like a likable person. He comes across as like someone you just don't want to be around. Someone you don't look forward to. Someone you don't look up to. He just comes across as an out of touch lunatic, basically. Now, I've heard that the people who made the movie were biased, because he even says, like, yeah, you deserve money, but I'm not going to pay you. But here's the thing. He does that to a lot of people. There are some people that are like fellow band members. After he had gotten this like $400,000 to make pre-advanced, excluding the $15 million to make Boondock Saints, there's one guy who was saying, like, I wish you'd give me a couple of bucks, because I'm gonna get kicked out of my apartment because I don't have enough money to pay my rent. Meanwhile, Troy Duffy, like, it almost makes you wonder what he was doing for a year, because I am not kidding you. Literally, a year goes past before we see him do anything film-wise. 90% of the time, it's him whining, him complaining, him moaning, drinking, smoking, cussing, even to his mother, and talking about how he's better than his younger brother. Really, that's it for like a good year, and you do get to see a little bit of him making his band, and his music does not sound like it's for me. There's a little solo where he's doing like dun 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 dun. I don't know what the melody is, but that actually sounds pretty good. But it's that like type of heavy rock or grunge rock. I'm just personally not a fan of it. He eventually does make the movie, and, well, we saw what happened. It bombed, which I get the feeling Troy Duffy was more focused on celebrating than working. His success, the success of what happened when he got the $450,000 when He who shall not be named, offered to buy his bar and give him $15 million to make the movie. That was borderline the problem because that inflated his ego, and he was more focused on celebrating, drinking, and smoking than he was on filming, producing, or directing. He had nothing in the can after this, or at least none that was shown. This is a very interesting documentary, and it's something directors, producers, writers, especially new ones, even independent ones, you need to watch this and know what to do and what not to do. Maybe he just couldn't multi-manage. Maybe that's the big thing. Like, when the movie was working, the band wasn't. When the band was working, the movie wasn't. So, who knows? Maybe it's something like that. I wonder if I were to guess, it wouldn't shock me if he spent at least... It did say, like, he went broke, and it wouldn't shock me if most of that went to drinking and smoking. Like, hey, you live you. I might have to fly solo on Boondock Saints too.